It's Sunday, December 3rd, 2023. Make sure to please like this video, share this video all over your social media, and make sure you subscribe to this channel. I do apologize. Nugget is over here snoring. I'll put a little clip of her at the very end of this video. Sometimes she does get a little loud with her power naps, so please bear with me. I'll try to edit that out the best that I can. But as we get started here today, fix this. A few things I want to talk about. First off, it was very nice to get out yesterday. I want to thank Matt over at Ox Talks, my good friend of over 10 years. Check out his channel to invite me over to the Porsche Cars and Coffee in Palm Springs. That was very, very nice. We had a great time, and it's just a reminder that it's just good to spend time with your friends, your family, to just get out of the house, walk, enjoy the weather, enjoy the sights, enjoy people, go do a Cars and Coffee. As I've said in the past, if this economy ever recovers and things get good in America, I will be doing a car channel, and it will be much more fun than this. But this is more important with what's happening right now. But, you know, in just enjoying the nice weather yesterday and the beautiful cars, it's good to add balance in our lives. You know, we have to remember that the world's not coming to an end. Yes, things are going to get difficult. Things are going to get challenging. That's why we get to the gym. That's why we do jujitsu. This is why we get in a mental mindset to you know, live up to these challenges. This is why we're getting financially independent. This is why we're getting out of the system and disconnecting as much as we can from the banking system. This is why we buy assets. This is why we have cash reserves. This is why we have skills, why we do all this to prepare for what's coming. It's not going to come to an end. It's going to change, and a lot of people are going to be left behind. But we have got to remember to you know, put a little balance in our life. It's very, very important. But, you know, as we were out there walking yesterday over at the Palm Springs Porsche dealership and looking at all the beautiful cars, and you know, a lot of successful people there, a lot of people who've made a lot of money over the years, a lot of people retired. I'm sure still, you know, many of those people still working, have businesses, very successful, many people in the markets. And you wonder how many of those people really know what's going on right now. How many really know what is about to happen? Because we're going to see a lot of wealthy people get absolutely destroyed here. They're in the markets, and many of these people are going to be taken down with the markets when these markets do collapse. And at some point they're going to collapse, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot have a consumer this week and yet have corporate profits going up. And we know that these markets are heavily manipulated right now, and they're going to try to keep these markets propped up as long as they can, but like everything else, they will lose control. And when they do, there's going to be a lot of wealthy people in these markets that are going to wake up one day, and those cars are going back, the boats are going back, the RVs are going back, the vacation homes are going back, the private jets are going back, the Rolexes are going back. It's all going to change. And so when we were out there yesterday, I really wonder how many people are awake and how many people are really, really prepared for what's coming. Or are they just more concerned about cars and, you know, the next car they're going to buy while the U.S. economy falls deeper into a depression? I will say this, right now, my priority or priorities are not another car. My priorities now are survival. Financial survival, physical survival, spiritual survival. And I think that if you think like that right now and you're preparing, the opportunities that are coming in America are going to be like unlike any other time we've ever seen. I think there's going to be huge opportunities. I think that there's going to be a lot of money to be made. But you've got to remember, you've got to keep yourself safe, because there's going to be a social fallout coming on top of this this economic collapse. So you've got to remember that too. Now, I want to go to an article that's been circulating all over the internet here. Scores of U.S. credit unions offline after ransomware infects back-end cloud outfit. Now, this was reported on Friday. 60 plus credit unions disrupted. It says here the union's IT provider, Ironic, was hit by a ransomware attack last Friday, sparking days of disruptions. So how safe now are the credit unions? I know a lot of people would rather deal with a credit union believing that it's safer than a bank, and it may be, but look at this ransomware attack now with 60 plus credit unions. You know, if you're not holding your own money, if you don't have direct access to your own money, you've got to be asking yourself now, how safe is your money if it's not sitting somewhere that you can physically get to? There is definitely third-party counter risk here. And again, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. But the sophistication now of these ransomware attacks, nobody is safe. Now, a ransomware attack cannot take your money from a location you may have it in. It cannot take it from under your mattress. Cannot take it from a vault that you may have. It cannot take it if you have it buried under the ground. Yes, there are other risks, but I'm beginning to think that there's more of a risk now of you losing your money through a ransomware attack, somebody using a computer, versus, you know, somebody just flat out robbing you. You should have security. If you're worried about being robbed, you should have security. And you should be prepared to deal with confrontation. But I think now it is becoming much, much easier for today's criminal, not just to like kick in somebody's door and, you know, crack open somebody's safe or look under somebody's mattress. I think today's criminal is much more savvy, much more advanced, much more sophisticated, and the criminal today knows that there's a lot more money sitting on a computer than there is under somebody's mattress. So these are things that that we have got to be thinking outside of the box now, thinking about where is our money, who's managing our money, and how easy is it for one of these attacks to take place and you be completely wiped out. And then the inconvenience if the system really gets hit, that ATMs go down, banks shut down, Wall Street shuts down. I mean, this could get really, really out of control when you think about it. And the technology exists now for that to happen. How many people's lives would be upside down if their little plastic card today couldn't put gas in their car? If that little plastic card couldn't take them to the grocery store and buy their food, couldn't pay for a car repair. What would happen to these people if they just couldn't interact in society and purchase what they needed? They would be in very, very big trouble. Again, these are the people who come knocking at your door. This is why I think it's so important to have cash put somewhere. I'm not saying keep it all at your house. If you have other locations, places you can hide it, but maybe it is all safer sitting in your house versus sitting in an account somewhere that can just be wiped out with the press of a button. Again, I'm not telling anybody out there to take all their money to the bank, but you've got to think that if something happened like this to you and it lasts more than a couple days and you've got bills to pay and you've got mouths to feed, what would you do? And how serious is this going to get? And we're going to see more of this in 2024, and we're going to see it in a higher magnitude, I believe, too, where it's going to, it's going to last longer. Much of this gets resolved in a day or two, and people, they're not, out of money for too long. But what happens if it becomes a week, 2 weeks, a month, and it starts spreading like a contagion across other financial sectors, other banks? So it's something to think about on top of all the bank closures, all these closures that we're seeing. When Matt and I were driving from Cars and Coffee yesterday down the 111, the amount of banks, we passed multiple banks that have been shut down for years. And then you think about who's paying on these properties. Who owns these properties? There's no money coming in, and these owners have got to pay taxes to the city on these properties, but there's no revenue coming in. And some of these banks are 10,000 plus square feet, and they've been sitting empty for years. So the whole thing is just completely out of whack, and who knows what we're about to see. Here's another one: how America racked up $1 trillion in credit card bills. This on CNBC today. The average rate on a credit card now is over 22%. Rates on retail cards are right around 29%. I just had an offer, a credit card offer, come in the mail yesterday. I opened it up, and they were charging me 29.39%, something like that. I mean, this is unbelievable. And I think about how many millions of people are carrying debt month over month over month over month at 22 to 30%. This is now very, very common. But we go back to the question here, the article, how America racked up over $1 trillion of credit card debt. Well, it's pretty easy. People's rent costs more, groceries cost more, gas costs more. Everything literally costs more in this country. And this is why credit card debt now is exceeding $1 trillion and going to go higher. I don't know if we're going to see credit card debt come below $1 trillion for a very, very long time, if ever. But knowing this, it did not stop 200 million consumers over the Thanksgiving holiday to go out and continue to shop. Many of them didn't even pay off last holiday shopping spree, and they're continuing to shop, and they're going to continue to shop into the Christmas season. The article goes on to talk about the resilient consumer. I say this, the consumer is not resilient, ladies and gentlemen. The consumer has credit cards. There's a big difference. The consumer, let me repeat, is not resilient because the consumer's broke. The consumer has credit cards, and this is what allows them to continue to go shopping. Thanksgiving shopping, Christmas shopping, pay for the essentials. This is what is allowing this whole house of cards to continue to stay up. And it's going to continue until it doesn't continue. And at some point, and I think many people now are beginning to reach those limits where there's nothing left. They're maxed out. And when this happens to enough people, you're going to see very, very big trouble economically in this country. Here's another article from The Hedge today. Recent homeowners lose over $200 per day in property value each day. All those people that got conned in to buy a house by all the FOMO last year, they're beginning to realize they just bought a pig. They got suckered in by the low mortgage rates with little regard to the price of the home they were buying. They were paying way too much for this property. And now, yes, they got a low mortgage rate, but guess what else they got? They got a lot of debt because they owe a lot of money on a home that they paid for that was overvalued. And so they have a lot of debt, yes, a lower interest rate, but a whole lot of debt. I'd rather have a higher rate and a lot less debt. On average, single-family homeowners have been shedding $223 in property every day since they bought their homes last year. Even worse for condo owners, they're losing up to $335 a day. In San Francisco, that's $122,000 a year. In the article, it gives an example here of a San Francisco condo that was purchased in 2016 for $3.5 million. It sold yesterday for $1.975 million, less than $2 million. That right there is another eye-opener to what is coming. Median single-family home prices from 2023 to 2022. And I'm not going to go over all of them here, but this is interesting. Memphis, Tennessee, down 17%. New Orleans, down 9%. Atlanta, Georgia, down 8.4%. San Antonio, Texas, down 5%. Colorado Springs, down 3.2%. And North Las Vegas, down 2.8%. This is the median single-family home price 2023 versus 2022. So again, if you get some time, check these articles out, look them up, do your own due diligence. But this to me is just reinforcing what most of you and myself are talking about, what we've been reading, what we have been talking about coming, what is to come is now beginning. So many of you for the last couple of years have been forecasting this, that prices are going to start coming down. I've been saying the same thing. They're coming down slowly, but we are going to see something that triggers an acceleration here, whether it's, renters having to move home, Airbnb properties that are not renting that are going to be flooding the market, landlords that are getting out of the landlord business, millions of new homes being built. We're going to see more and more inventory, and let's not forget, we're going to see less and less people who can qualify to buy these homes. So you're going to have a shrinking pool of qualified buyers and a pool that continues to expand of listings. And where are the buyers going to come from? More people are losing jobs. No job, no house. That's how it works. U.S. in serious trouble. Financial world legend who predicted Lehman collapse warns. This is Rob Kiyosaki. If you don't know, this was on Fox Business a couple days ago. Inflation incompetence is here to stay, says Rob Kiyosaki. He says this, I hate to say this because you know I love America, but America is in trouble. He said this on Cavuto's Coast to Coast show on Thursday. He says the biggest problem we have are the three stooges, the president, the one in the Treasury, the one at the Fed. He says America is broke. And he says the government is going to keep printing money. And we must realize that if we just keep printing money to solve our problems here, this is not going to last much longer. It cannot last much longer. And Rob Kiyosaki says, just look at history. Every time they printed money, the empire went down. This is exactly what's happening. I think you're really witnessing an empire collapsing right now. And that really saddens me to say that because just like Rob Kiyosaki, I love this country. But it is too broke. It's the biggest detonation on planet Earth. There's so much going on here. So much of your tax money is just been so wasted. It's absolutely disgusting how much waste there is here in America. And you know, there's people out there that will continue to make these videos and they laugh and they giggle and they think like it's all funny and it's fun and games. And these people have no idea what's coming. They really, really have no idea. They just think it's funny and it's just a joke, and it's all gonna be over at some point and everything's gonna be fine, and there'll be no social collapse and there's gonna be no depression. These people have never seen tough times. These people are not going to have an easy time, ladies and gentlemen. This is why you need to be really challenging yourself right now. This is why you need to be preparing right now, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. This is no joke. This is why, a lot of people will say, why don't I ever laugh? Why don't I smile? Because this is 15 to 20 minutes of my day where I want to get a message across that I think is extremely serious. If I was your doctor and you had a life-threatening illness and I sat across the desk and I just laughed and giggled like it was no big deal, how would you feel? Now, this is a serious problem. This is like, stage 4 cancer. You got a big problem on your hands, big trouble. And we need to figure out a way very, very quickly to resolve it. And I have 15 to 20 minutes a day to get this across to people. And most of you know what's going on, but there's always new people every day tuning in that don't really know what's going on. This is like the first time they've heard something. And so sometimes it may be repetitive, but remember, there's a lot of people out there that this is the first time or they're just now beginning to wake up. And it may be repetitive, but just, vitamins and working out is repetitive too. Training jujitsu is repetitive. Getting to the range, that's repetitive. But the more repetitive it is, and the more you do it, the better you're going to be at it. And so this just reinforces what you believe. And sometimes that's what we need, is just reinforcement. But we should be repetitive with what we do. That's how you get good at something. But this is a stage 4 cancer right here. And it's no joke. And that's why I don't laugh. That's why I don't giggle. That's why I don't sit here and tell jokes, because this is really, really serious business. This is the future of our country. America goes, everything goes. There'll never be another one. Remember that. I'm going to close with this last article. As many of you know, animals, especially dogs, cats, have a very, very special place in my heart. And there was an article I was reading today in the LA Times. Animal shelters across the U.S. are overflowing. It says here, we're inundated. Many of the kennels, or many of the shelters are putting kennels in their lobbies because they have no more room on the properties to put dogs. So they're putting little portable kennels in the lobby. They say it's a complete mess. And they're having to put down a lot of dogs, euthanizing a lot of dogs. And it's really, really sad. I love dogs. I love cats. I love basically every animal, just like many of you. This is to me another sign of just how bad the economy is. If the economy was booming, you would not be seeing this. But this is another sign of a very, very bad economy. And it's another reminder of when you give people a lot of free money and they don't have to go to work and they don't have to pay their bills and they're sitting at home, what do? They want to go buy a puppy. Then the puppy gets big. Then these people don't get benefits anymore. They don't get unemployment anymore. They're not getting stimulus checks. The dog's eating more. The dog's getting bigger. The dog needs attention. The dog needs, medical services. And now you may not have a job, or you're working, but your wages aren't keeping up with inflation. You can barely feed yourself. Now you have, a 50-pound dog or a 150-pound dog, and you can't feed it. And people should have really thought about this before they went out and bought a dog, because it's a commitment, right? But now these animals are going to pay because of people's recklessness, because they thought that they would never have to go back to work. They thought that they were going to get, stimulus checks forever and be on unemployment forever. And now these animals are going to pay a very, very severe price. If you have the means, if you have the ability, if you have the space, maybe you can take in an animal. Me personally, I don't really have any more room, but I do make donations to some of these shelters to make sure that the dogs are eating, that people are getting paid. And so, maybe for the holidays, the churches are so corrupt. Why give them money? Why not, help an animal shelter? Maybe one in your area, maybe one that you've seen on television or on social media. Maybe give a tithe to an animal shelter. At least there, you're going to make a difference. Versus maybe at the church where your pastor is driving a BMW and living in a $700,000 house, all the 501c3 baloney that goes on, and they're just selling you out. They're not telling people the truth. They're not waking people up. They're not preparing people. So, maybe feed an animal, maybe feed a dog or a cat. That makes me feel a lot better than just, paying it to somebody at a 501c3 who's probably going to use my donation to, go to Morton's and have a steak dinner tonight. So I'm going to leave it there tonight. Remember, Christmas isn't just about getting presents. Maybe it's a great time to maybe help somebody out that's homeless, to help a vet, to help a dog, to help a cat, to help one of these shelters. So keep that in mind. I'm going to leave it there today. Have a wonderful week. I look forward to speaking with all of you very, very soon. God bless.